Good morning, friends, or actually afternoon. It's noontime now. Um, Welcome to our Tai Chi community session. So what we're going to be working on today, we're going to start with a qigong warm-up, and then we'll go straight into the short form. We're going to be really honing in our skills with the short form today, get lots of practice in. And then the last few minutes, we'll work on just some community time. So if you have questions or comments, or if you just want to chat at that time, we can. I'll probably also add in some journaling prompts or thought questions that you're welcome to answer out loud or on paper, pencil, pen. So if you need to grab something to write with, some paper, go ahead and do that. This is our setup again for today. Got myself a chair and the feet are secure on a yoga mat that is not going to slip out from under me. You can also put your chair up against a wall, that works too. Just want to make sure that you're nice and safe. Let's see, what other housekeeping things while we wait for people to arrive. So this is the first of our monthly gatherings for the Tai Chi community. We'll be doing this on Saturday. I think it's the second Saturday of each month, 12 to 1 CST. Yeah, so this session I'm gonna be demonstrating from the chair, and I'll be demonstrating from the latest group that has gone through the Tai Chi learning sessions. So next session, I'll be demonstrating from a walker, but if you are familiar with what is in the sitting, then you will choose that position and you can work from there. We're all going to work together. Okay. What else? How are you doing today? Are you surviving this beginning of transition to spring? So I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but we had a ginormous sandstorm yesterday, which is why I'm inside today. I was planning on being outside today, but that dust storm was awful. And while the wind is better today, it's still gusting at somewhere between 20 and 30 miles an hour. And my allergies are still not happy. So to keep my voice sounding happy, I figured I'd better be inside. So let's see. Got about another 2 minutes before we get started. So grab anything you feel like you need, get your setup going, and we will get going shortly. Forgot one more thing. Okay, so since I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking during the short form today, there is a link in the chat for some Tai Chi music if you like something to fill up the auditory void. And for those of you that will be on the replay, I'll include a link for that playlist in the email. Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me double check one more time that my audio is on and working this time. Apparently last time it went out really early on in the video. I am so sorry for that. So I'm going to be re-recording that session and getting that to you shortly. So let's get in our seats, get comfy, We'll get our warm up going first. So just get comfortable and get your posture in check. So you want your feet underneath your knees, your hips in line with your knees, your shoulders over your hips, head over shoulders. Okay. All right. Our first little warm up is we're going to be doing the qigong warm up that we started with last time. So here we go. I'm going to just do knocking on heaven's door first. Just go side to side. Let your arms be heavy. All this movement should be coming from your trunk. John, this is one of my favorite warm-ups. All right, come back to center. Next one, we're going to be swimming backwards. One arm up, and the other arm up. A lot of people have shoulder range of motion troubles. If that's you, you can make it smaller. You can come down here. Or even down here. That's fine. Take what range feels comfortable to you. And make sure you're letting your trunk go with the motion as well. You don't want it to just be isolated just to the shoulders like this. Let your trunk go. Nice. All right, back to center. All right, got a lot going on in our arms so far today, so let's get some of our lower half going. So we're going to take some pelvic circles. So you're going to take your weight onto one rear end cheek and then onto the other rear end cheek just to get started. Feel where that weight is going between your rear end cheeks. All right, now we're going to start making circles. So you're going to take your weight up to 12 o'clock. Around. I'm going to start with clockwise. And we'll wait to 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, back around. Really loosening up that low back. Nice. Let's do one more clockwise. Get back up to 12 o'clock, and then we're going to be going counterclockwise. We'll start with your weight at 12. Take it over to 9, 6, 3, 12 again. As you're moving here, close your eyes if you can, and I want you to feel through that circle. Is there a spot where you've got a little hitch going? It's not quite as smooth. Or maybe you don't quite get all the way out in the circle area. Well, mine's that 12 to 9 o'clock spot. That's where my limitation is. Wherever your limitation is, let's go and rock back and forth in that area. Let's try to loosen that up a little more. Good. Take it back around, feel it out again. Maybe it feels a little better. Take it back to clockwise. And is your sticking spot the same or is it different on this side? Find that sticking spot again and Roll your weight in between those spots. Kind of work in it a little bit. Good. All right, back to center. All right, this one's kind of fun. This one's called activating arms and legs. So you're going to take one hand. You're going to be slapping, tapping, lovingly stroking your other wrist. And we'll go up to elbow, shoulder. We're going to switch. So shoulder, elbow, wrist. And then both hands. You're going to get your low back, hips, knees, ankles. Nice. All right, that's one round. We're going to do 2 more rounds, okay? So wrist, elbow, shoulder, opposite side, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Both hands, back, hips, knees, ankles. One more time. Wrist, elbow, shoulder, shoulder, elbow, wrist, back, hips, knees, ankles. Good job. The reason I really like that one is because the sudden slapping motion or rubbing helps to bring awareness into your joints. Okay, next, you're going to start with your hands in prayer position here. We're going to take it up overhead, then back. Really stretch out your pecs here. Then come back to center. Overhead, round, stretching out your chest, and then coming back to center. Up, stretch around. Center. Do one more. Up, out, back to center. All right, I'm gonna take that hand position, and this time we're gonna start it at your forehead. So we're gonna be going backwards until you can look at the ceiling or the sky, and then forward, you're gonna reach to your toes. Go up and down. One more like that. Good. Right, back to center. We're going to get the breath going for the next one. Excuse me. And with this one, we'll breathe up as we look up, or we'll breathe in as we look up. And then we're going to sling it down and breathe out. One more. Good. Back to center. That's another one of my favorites. Woo, really gets the sinuses to release there. Ooh, pardon me. All right. That was okay. All right, coming back into our center here. We're working on massaging our belly a little bit. So you're going to be starting over your left hip, coming on to your right hip, coming up your right side just under your rib cage, come over to the left side, and then back down. Okay. So listen to the sides that I'm talking about with my voice and not so much with the sides on you can see in the video. The reason, oh, left hip, over to right hip, up to right rib cage, slide over to left rib cage, and then down to left hip. So the reason that we go in this specific order is because this is tracing your large intestine in your belly, and it helps to move your bowels and that large intestine. So at some point, you need to make a potty stop. Feel free. And then left hip, right hip, up the right side to right rib cage, across the body, left rib cage, down to left hip. Sit one more. Good job. So anytime you're feeling constipated, that's a great one to do for yourself. Okay, all right. Got one more qigong exercise here. I'm gonna finish with compressing the chi. So we're gonna go out to the side, gathering up our chi love, and pulling it back down for ourselves. Good. Circling around to the sides, bringing that love down on ourselves. Gathering up the love or the chi from the world, and bathing in it for ourselves. Here we go. Ooh. Yeah, good job. All right, back to center. All right, before we get into the short form, let's double check our posture. Make sure your feet are still under your knees. Mine have moved a little bit, so I'm going to adjust mine. And knees should be over ankles, knees in line with hips, shoulders over hips, and head over shoulders. And of course, this is all relative. So if you've got some curvature in your spine going on, it's okay if sitting up straight is painful for you. This should be a neutral spine. So whatever feels comfortable and maintainable for you. Okay, get me a sip of water and then we'll, actually this is my tea. Then we'll get started on our Tai Chi short form. So here we go. Whole thing from the beginning. Here we go. Beginning. Very nice. That's round one. Okay, let's reflect. How did that feel to you? Were there any sticking spots for you? I find the transition moments are the ones that are most challenging for me personally. If there are any questions, you're welcome to put those in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and let me know. Um, I would suggest focusing on what your feet are doing, because that's where the root of all the motion is coming from, is your feet. If you feel confident in what your feet are doing, then take a look at what your trunk is doing. And if you're feeling confident of what your trunk is doing, then you can take a look at what your hands and arms are doing. Okay. All right. You ready to go again? Or recheck your posture. Beginning. Good job. Round two. Get yourself something to drink if you need. So, Tai Chi is often labeled a meditation in motion. So, let's be mindful of where your feet are at this round as we get going again. Ready? Beginning. Very nice. All right. Keep hitting this tree a little bit. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I had a last minute change on my setup this morning, and I guess it affected the position of my arm in comparison to that tree. So, how did that feel on your feet? Did your feet feel like they were flowing? Or did your feet get stuck? If your feet got stuck at a particular location, put that in the chat, or you can jump in verbally and just say that out loud. So, thinking about my feet, I feel like they probably get the most stuck when we're going from the one foot in front of the other to 2 feet parallel. You found a stuck spot in this next round. Try to make that a little bit smoother as you go. Think on that and be mindful of where your feet are at in this round. If you are ready to move on from your feet and you feel confident in your feet, this time we're going to be concentrating on what our trunk is doing. So, trunk is shoulders to hips, this area. Mindful of what that's doing this session. Okay? All right, beginning. Nice. All right. Those of you working on your feet, were you able to smooth out your feet a little bit? If you need to keep working on that, you can keep working on that. Those of you that were focusing on what your trunk was doing, did you find a sticking spot with your trunk? That's what I was focusing on this session. And what I noticed is that there's a lot of trunk rotation in these movements. So, what I'm going to be focusing on the next session is making sure that that trunk rotation is rotating around a center pole. So that center pole should be my spine. It should start from the top of my head and come all the way down to my sit bones. And I should be rotating around that center point, because if I'm coming forward and off of that center point, I'm going to be putting different, or backwards or to the side, whatever. I'm going to be putting different stressors on to my spine bones. which can over time affect laxities, and a lot of people with back pain go and get imaging and, oh my goodness, there's a bulging disc. This is what leads to those bulging discs. And those bulging discs don't necessarily cause pain by themselves. Discs themselves don't have any pain receptors in them. However, if your body has been moving in a way consistently that is causing those discs to bulge, that those pain receptors may be coming from other structures. So those could be coming from ligaments or nerves, tendons, or muscles. So if we can prevent those funny adaptations that we do, then we are going to be on the road to having a healthier spine. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on this next session for me. If your spine felt really good as you were moving along, you are welcome to move on to feeling what your arms are doing, making that your mindful movement in this session. So either focusing on your arms, or everybody else is going to be focusing on what trunk is doing. Okay? All right, here we go. Beginning. Nice. All right. What did you observe about your spine this session? Did you find any sticking points? Personally, I feel like I have more range of motion to this side versus this side. This is interesting. To me, as a movement analysis professional, probably no one else cares, but I enjoy that stuff. Right? If you're feeling confident in what your spine is doing, you can move on to what your arms are doing. If you are still focusing on what your trunk is doing, that's fine too. You can keep going there and work out any kinks that you feel like you've got there. Tai Chi is rooted in the feet, moved in the trunk, and expressed in the arms. So the arms are what a lot of people tend to focus on when you're moving in Tai Chi, but that is really the last layer of the activity. So if you are feeling confident what your feet are doing, confident what your trunk's doing, then you can go into focusing on what your arms are doing. Okay. All right. Everybody got their focus for this one in mind? All right. Here we go. Beginning. Nicely done. Oh, as I'm going, I'm watching myself do this on the screen and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Um, what I noticed for me in that session is that I'm moving my arms a little bit or my hands a little bit too quickly in my turns and my cloud hands. So when you're coming through center, your hands should be facing you, then coming out to face each other. So in, rotate, face each other, rotate, face each other, in. And I feel like that's just a product of living in the hurry, hurry society that we're currently in the Western world. And that is a good lesson to take home from a moving meditation is to slow down and notice what you're doing. I feel like, especially in the workplace, it is encouraged and, in fact, some oftentimes required to multitask. However, there's been lots of research done that when you are multitasking, you lose your quality of your performance. So, personally, I try to unitask, one task at a time, as much as possible to make sure that I am achieving the high quality that I prefer. And that's also just one of my probably neurodivergent quirks. When I was growing up, my family actually held me back a year, and I took a year between kindergarten and first grade. And it was at the suggestion of my kindergarten teacher. It wasn't that I couldn't do the tasks that were happening in kindergarten. It was that I wanted to everything to be exactly perfect. And my kindergarten teacher felt that I would succeed more academically if I was given the opportunity to be able to do everything perfectly. Yay, high achieving perfectionist. Yay, I'm still working on that. All right, let's try to get in a couple more rounds. So, in these last few rounds, I want you to focus on the area that you feel like you need to improve on the most, whether that be your feet, your trunk, or your arm expression. Okay? So here we go. Beginning. Very nice. Back to center for a second. I'll break on my feet here for a minute. Feel ankle circles. Get some water. All right, let's do 2 more rounds, okay? Here we go. Beginning. Nice. So that round I actually did with my eyes closed so I could concentrate on what my body was feeling rather than all the input that's coming in around me visually. I'm a very visual person, and so I have a hard time tuning those things out. So you are welcome to try that in this last round if you'd like. Here we go. Beginning. Very good. All right, so that ends the short form practice. Get yourself comfortable in whatever position you'd like. Let me check the chat really fast. I don't see any questions. Hmm. Learning new things about hosting things on Zoom all the time. Just learned something new. That's cool. All right. All right. If you need to take a potty break, you can. Our first thing that we'll consider for our journaling time that you can also consider while you're out on your potty break is where are you with your goals for this year? Are you on step 1? Step 10? Somewhere in between? Maybe step 0. Maybe you haven't started at all. All right, think on that. Get your pen, paper, snack, or something to drink if you'd like. We'll be back in just a minute. So for my snack, it is sponsored by Sweet and Sour Charcuterie here locally. Thank you. I am super excited about this. I'll try to keep my crunching to a minimum. I am a little hungry. All right, have you thought about your goals for this year? Where you're at? So for me, my goal is that I have to write a case study to maintain one of my certifications, and that is due in the end of June, I believe. And I'm on step 3 of that activity. I'm in the process of reading a whole bunch of research, everything that I could find in the entire world. Thank you, Internet, about my chosen case. So my chosen case was a case that I handled probably about 3 years ago now at the beginning of this certification cycle. And it was a young man who's 18 or 19 who had Guillain-Barré as a result of a COVID infection. And I chose that case because we have been seeing a pattern here recently in the past few years that COVID has existed, that um, every year when the COVID cases rise in the wintertime, just because we're inside more frequently. So December, January, February, we see quite a few cases of Guillain-Barré after a COVID infection. So I've been researching that, and now I am reading all the research that the world has available on that topic. So I will shortly be a expert in Guillain-Barré post-COVID. Did you know that if you spend, I can't remember exact numbers, but it's really a very manageable amount. I want to say it's 30 minutes a week reading on your favorite topic of choice, that by the end of a year, you will be in the top, I can't remember if it's 1% or 5% of experts in that area. You can do that, right? 30 minutes each week. That's not that hard. So if you want to be an expert in something, that's how you do it. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm on step 3. So considering where you're at with your goal and where you're at, what is your next step? For me, that next step is completing reading all of that research. So considering what your next step is, what supports do you need to make that next step? Maybe it's setting aside some time for yourself to do that step. Make an appointment in your calendar. That's what I need to do for mine. Maybe you need to ask for some help. Maybe you need to ask some family or friends to take something off of your plate so that you can have that time. Maybe you need a space to do that time. Maybe you need to call a, a space holder to be able to create that time for yourself. So, like, maybe you are needing a quiet study area. That's kind of what I need for mine. Um, Places that provide a quiet study area in my location that I'm thinking of are the local libraries. You can call and reserve a room in the libraries. And some of the rooms are literally just a room with nothing in them except a chair. Sometimes they have a desk. Personally, I like to work on my research in a large desk area so that as I read through my research, I can say, yes, this is one that I want to keep and it is beneficial for my knowledge on this topic. I will put it in one pile. And then if it's the title and the abstract looks good, but when I get in there reading it, it's not adding anything to what I already know, or it's totally off the wall topic and not interesting to me, I will put it in another pile. Or if it's somewhere in the middle, I'll stick it in the middle. Um, let's see. What else might you need to make your next step? Time and help are pretty common ones. What do you need for your next step? Think about that. You can put it in the chat or write it down on your piece of paper. Okay, moving away from our goals, how about some general self-care thoughts? So, what have you done this week that has brought you joy? Think on that one. Well, for me, coming here today has brought me joy. I get so much energy from just being able to put together these lessons for you guys. It makes me so excited. Um, what else has brought me joy this week? Oh, since I've been concerned about my voice quality, I've been drinking a lot of tea and putting a little honey in it, and oh my goodness, it's been so delicious. So just having some extra tea ceremony in my life this week has brought me some joy. Um, oh, on this past Monday, Gideon, my little, he had some dental work done, and we were done with it and home by about 1. So I had the rest of the day at the house, which was really nice, and I spent a lot of that time taking a nap. Yay! Naps always bring me joy. What else has brought you joy this week? All right, I think we have time for one more question. So, aside from the things that brought you joy, what have you done this week to fill up your own cup? For me, I've been trying to be a little bit more creative in my treatment plans of my clients day to day. And I don't know about my clients if it brought them any joy or filled their cups, but it is definitely filling that creative bucket that I need in my life. That has definitely filled my cup some. I'm thinking when I'm done with this session here in the house, I think I may go for a little walk to scout out my location for our Reiki session that is upcoming this week, by the way. And that will bring me some joy and fill up my nature cup as well. All right. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? I don't see anything in the chat over there. Nope. Okay. So, like I was saying, the Reiki session is coming up this next Thursday from 12 to 12:30 Central Standard Time. Would love to have you